I'm genuinely happy. What is going on though, Jim? You know, we came into this region, we're talking all this, Mirage, Dust 2, you know, these are the maps we're going to see a lot. And we have only seen these three maps, Nuke, Inferno, Vertigo. What is this?
It is an absolute... let's just see how this goes, to be honest, because I'm not too sure what we're going to be looking at here, but I don't know if this one's quite live just yet. Here we are. We're in the map. So we get a good bird's eye view of what's going on. But yeah, it's a total shift in the traditional maps that are being played by these teams in this region. And I think coming into a competition like this is the perfect time to stray away from maps that you might be comfortable with, maps that you might have a lot of data on some teams compared to others. This is going to be, a very interesting time for both you and I, because in terms of the map data, we don't really have that on either of these teams. They've both made roster changes, or in the case of Downfall, relatively new in terms of formation. So this one's going to play out right before our eyes here, Mitch. We're going to be feasting on the first rounds played on Vertigo, at least for today.
Well, I'm a fan of that. I love Vertigo. I feel like it plays out really well. I know a lot of teams are starting to like it as well, showed a little bit of love. Here's a smoke execute coming straight over in the pistol round. That's going to lock Leaky out, and they should be able to get a nice, easy plant off the back of that. They boost up above the smoke, an attempt to try and catch a player as they rotate through, but they were sticking up nice and close. An opportunity was given. Nothing connected on the back of it, though.
Yeah, slight delay, though, in that plant. That might have cost them because the CTs are almost knocking on heaven's door. And let's just see whether or not they can manage that retake, as there is damage exchange either way. Lays, we've seen his position be utilised quite well by Vexite earlier yesterday, but he is taken down quite swiftly too here. So they are falling to pieces here in the retake. Time is ticking though, so they need to get someone across that bomb. They will get that defused quite quickly. Great retake there from Downfall, and the CTs were right there. They were waiting that retake. They made it look easy.
So immediately we're seeing though that there is at least a fairly decent level of prac from Ground Zero on an individual level, because they know those smokes to get themselves and execute straight through to the site. It's planned out efficiently, but as you said, you know, that bomb plant could have cost them a couple of did cost them a couple of seconds, and maybe could have come through to cost them the round a little bit later on, but ultimately it was just aim duels won out by Downfall. Now they come through with SMGs, but only 2 of them, and I'm a big fan of this kind of investment. Obviously Order have gone in for a force buy as well, but having those 2 SMGs, this means that your rifles obviously have a pretty big advantage up against the majority of the weapons that Order have deployed, and when it comes through to playing out like a bonus round, you're not actually at that much of a disadvantage. Mac 10's already up close and already dead, as they very quickly get spammed through the smoke.
Certainly do, and apologies for that logo confusion too. It is Ground Zero, not Order, but Llama's just going to break his way here onto the B bomb site. You can see Ground Zero are doing a good job of, well, seemingly falling to pieces at Downfall's mercy. So this is a nice round coming out from Downfall. They did try and force into it, Ground Zero, but they have just been hit with a stonewall defense coming out from Downfall. So might be able to catch something here, Noobster. Don't think they're going to allow him an easy access to anyone. He's just content to sit in the back of that bomb site. Mizzy puts the final touches on, and Downfall are off to a very good start. They have managed to just fend off that force coming through. I do like that though from Ground Zero early on, trying something a bit different. That's the time to try it in the competition. Early days, there's no pressure on them to try and convert the following rounds. So this is a good site hold coming out from Downfall. Mizzy just playing it to perfection in the end. And 2-0. An expected eco coming out too from Ground Zero. They need to get some money in the coffers. A plant will certainly help that, but they're just hoping that they can catch Downfall out.
You saw obviously Leaky upgrade his SMG as well, so they've only got 1 SMG to play around, which is even better for them. It means that coming into the next round, Downfall are unlikely to invest anything, and that money is just going to ride sky high. It means that Ground Zero really need to get themselves a kill on this one. And if they don't manage to come through and find themselves 1 or 2 frags, Downfall are just going to be riding high on economy, and it's going to be hard to reset them at all. And with just Glocks, obviously, it's never going to be all too likely. Even Burn, he had himself or has himself a P250, but immediately got lit down to 23 health. So it definitely isn't the best of starts for them.
Certainly not. And I mean, this round, they're probably taking the time to just talk out what their next round's going to be, to be honest, because they're not really intent on going anywhere just yet. In fact, they're now going to rotate back towards the other side of the map. So they're going to go and try and see if they can get anything on offer here towards the B-bomb site. But this is where Licky does spot out, get the info. And he's not going to try and take too many individual duels here, though. They're going to run straight into the path. Great support flash from Mizzy. And they make no mistake in the anti-eco round. So Ground Zero now going to come into this with some weaponry. This is their first roll of the dice. A very important round for both these two teams. It's the first gun round. Ground Zero, they have been met with some stern defense. I'm liking Downfall.
Well, here's the challenge for them. When we look in towards the T side, I really want to see them get off to a little bit of a better start. You know, if they're coming in as the favorites in the game, this buy round is going to be essential to put the groundwork down. Now, okay, maybe they don't win it, but at least put up a good performance, a good fight. Immediately getting lit down, Burns being headbutt by a nade. This is, remember, not a full buy really for Downfall. They've still got an SMG, a Galil, two FAMAS, well, no Galil now, two FAMAS to play around, and what an opening by Maker. That's the site completely open for the taking. B is theirs, and they can easily get a bomb plant. There's a molly at the bottom of the stairs, but once that dissipates, they'll just rally up. And I really don't think 2D can do anything here. If he swings out to try and hold them, even though they haven't pushed site, he obviously doesn't know that, it would be a little bit of an overextension for him. But as he doesn't see anything, now he's starting to think about moving forward because Moop's here to support him. Those smokes should keep them at bay.
Should, but anyway, K's going to be on that flank, so they're just going to let Maker see what he can do here at B. And I think the stasis from Ground Zero has resulted now. They're going to rotate back towards that A bomb site, and Bernu okay. He's got all the info. He's pushed deep into this bomb site. He'll be able to secure the position and the entry for the team. So they had Downfall right where they wanted them as well. I actually thought maybe Ground Zero had been punished, Maker not pushing all the way through, but of course he didn't want to overextend himself because the information was coming from IGL, Bernie UK, that the rotation was coming through, that they should counter-rotate back towards that A bomb site. And Downfall, there's not a lot they can do here, just try and save out. And 2D's actually managed to get rid of that FAMAS at least and upgrade himself to an AK. So they're going to take something out of the round, at least in terms of more superior weaponry, but that is a well-played round from Ground Zero. The veteran in Bernie UK just marshalling his troops quite well.
Yeah, and again, you immediately see the comfort level of Ground Zero when it comes down to this map. The fact that they're in a position where they're looking for those rotations, they're ready to react off the back of them. It's not something you'll see every day. And you think about Renegades on Nuke, it's very reminiscent of that, right? That very early on, you're seeing them being able to call these rotates and really punish anything that Downfall are trying to do in terms of stacking up on sites in those 3DX situations. It's a solid start. Certainly, as we said, you know, they wanted to put up a very good fight against that kind of a bonus round. But now they come up against the full buy, all the rifles to play with, and look at 2D. He's already up close. He's spraying away for two, shutting them down, and a nade through for possibly a third. That's nice and close, and yes, it is. Oh my, a triple opening on the ramp, and Downfall have just shut down Ground Zero, attempting to follow up a second round.
Wow, that is a change of pace that has been absolutely punished by Downfall, should I say. Ground Zero, they ran into the wall of 2D, and that grenade was just the icing on the cake. They were there, they were ready for that as well. So this is now left to Lamas and Maker to try and pick up the pieces, see if they can find anything. 2v5 situation, you really shouldn't be losing this as a CT side. And great kill coming there through from Moop. The trade is coming through, but Lamas now could do some damage. CT economy is not rock solid though, so there are some kills on offer here that could really punish the CT side for taking losses in previous rounds. And are they going to present him the chance to take this round into his own hands? He does not find that frag. Downfall, they find an important fourth round, and Ground Zero, look, they're going to be shaking their heads a little bit. That change of pace really did not work for them.
Yeah, they got hard punished by that one. I guess the upside is it's not like it's a repeatable round. You're not really going to do that again if you're downfall. But getting that one so early on and just pulling yourself into the lead is fantastic. Obviously, we're spotting there. Moop is called Nathan on Steam. So if you see that in the kill feed, we're synced up on it. It's all Moop. It's weird. I wonder how that works. I guess it's based on their Steam name or something. Or
I think so. I think so. So we're getting the overlay names, and their names might differ on the kill feed. So just trying to decipher that one.
it happens. It happens.
Yeah, it happens. It comes with the territory, right? Now, slightly different approach here. No numbers committed towards that ramp, though they have sent Bernie UK in a very familiar position. He did this on the first round that Ground Zero were able to attain, and he's sort of the splinter cell. They send him in under the guise of a few smokes, and it's actually a silent approach now coming out from Ground Zero. They're just going to try and send numbers up towards this ramp. They've got control of the area at least and pushed Downfall back into the sites. We're not seeing what we saw yesterday from Chiefs, for example, who were just picking at will down that ramp. They at least have control of it now, Ground Zero. And in fact, they do pick up that first frag. Lays just catches Savage out. So the two youngsters butt heads early on. And this one at least goes the way of Lays for the moment. Llamas actually picks up another frag as well. So this is working quite well for Ground Zero. They just need to convert. As it goes back to a 3 versus 4. Noobstar does find another. So falling apart here, Downfall. Question is, yeah, they are going to regroup and take this B bomb site. The plant will go down, and 2D and Moot have a lot of work to do ahead of them.
That they do. Definitely not going to be an easy retake. And look at that. Angle just being held by Noob. He's easily able to shut that down, and even Moop afterwards as well. Just a straight swing into him. 4-2. And a really loud answer by Ground Zero back to what was quite a lucky position by 2D on the spray down through the smoke that transferred over, giving them a 3K. And all of a sudden, it's just answered back right away. Ground Zero getting on with what is, I think, more of a repeatable. You see, if you're in their perspective, you lost a round because you tried to up the pace, you had a player in a position you weren't expecting, and you just got double sprayed down and nade kill. But then if you're Ground Zero, you've just punished the aggression they're trying to make, the early peaks on the ramp, the push down on B. You've completely caught them off guard and given yourself the advantage in a round by tearing apart their strategy in a way that you can at least repeat. I think that's much more solidifying to your mentality. Now they're just picking them apart. Burn, yeah, so that was the problem, right? He's in a very aggressive position versus pistols by himself. So nobody's able to trade him. And what's worse than that is that now that weapon, because it's over towards the scaffolds, that can be picked up easily. And so Downfall can actually get themselves, I think it was an AK, right? And that's a huge advantage to have if they can manage to recover that.
Well, particularly if they get it in the hands of Licky as well, who's already got some weaponry to his name. He's got that armor, he's got that MP9, so he's just going to be over towards the speed bomb. So he's just going to see if he can prevent the plant at least. He does a lot of damage, but prospects of the retake is starting to fade somewhat, particularly now that Molotov's going to push him away. Yeah, I think, yeah, they do have that AK, so they did at least manage to take that out of the round. Mizzy will be caretaking that for the moment. Important to keep that CT economy afloat in tough times like the 8th round will be, no doubt, but I'm liking Ground Zero at the moment too. They did take some early losses. The change of pace, it shows that they're willing to try things, but more importantly, I think they're finding their limits with what they can get away with, and at least now willing to take the duels on the A ramp. I think that showed early on in the piece. They're just, even in some instances, after they throw that initial grenade up to the sandbags there to try and stop any early pushes, they're willing to take the aim duels, and that's just forcing Downfall into positions that Ground Zero are able to predict. And I think they need to be careful though. Bernie UK just, again, he's done it a few rounds now. Got out into that scaffolding position by himself. He's given up a weapon in the last round, but I think Downfall are going to be starting to expect that from now. He's done it almost every gun round that they've had.
Quite an odd decision to leave Licky down on the SMG, considering they obviously have the money to upgrade over to an M4. Considering they're kind of all in on this round on some players, feels like this is the kind of scenario where he could have either played an exit or just left himself with with the armor and upgraded. Whoa, he's solo B with an SMG as well?
That's wild.
That is very odd. And Moop is going on the flank. I would imagine these completely inverse. And he's coming up, but they're watching him. They're completely ready for this. And Lays might have been a bit AFK on that one, but he got it eventually, luckily not punished. I really don't understand this decision making.
It's interesting too that he was actually trying to get a spot onto those stairs with an MP9. It's not a duel you're going to favorably take. And Burn, he's just able now to do what he was intending to do all these rounds and just get up into that A-bomb site. Cause a bit of a distraction here. Licky actually does take the duel, lands a lot of damage onto Maker there. Hopefully that final blow from the grenade was going to do the damage. Couldn't quite be found. And they are going to actually put the pedal down towards B here. So Licky, they are going to make it work. Noobster now left to do work on his own. 2 versus 1. And he is swung on. Licky somehow makes that work and eventually does put that MP9 down. But you're right, some interesting decisions. It was an upgradable option, given that he had $3,400 with that MP9. He opted to keep it, and funnily enough, it worked out for him.
Yeah,
This to me is wild. This standoffish approach. I think Ground Zero, I don't know, they sent Burn into that A-bomb site. The wrong call was to go B there. They could have just pressed on towards A. Again, Burn. Rinse and repeat. He's going for this scaffolding like his life depended on it.
It really is a big fan of it, even against the pistols, but this time, obviously, you know you're up against rifles. You know there's probably an op in play as well. And so you got to be a little bit more careful about poking some of these parts of the map that they've been a little bit free to do so far. Moving in towards the ramp, and you'll see Ground Zero kind of in the same positions that they were in some of the previous rounds. They're just holding for the defaults, hoping that Downfall either get aggressive or given the opportunities by boosting up or pushing down on B. And nothing's happening. Downfall, if the op in play, they're just tucked in over towards the B side and middle. And then 3-man stack on A, they're happy to let the push come to them. The nade damage, huge as Lays goes down to 8 HP. And from here, what do you really do? Well, they've just lost their mid control. That's their op gone. He just got swung by an AK. And with him falling, now you've got Licky again by himself on B. But he can be pushed from 2 different angles. This opens up the possibility to move towards the B stairs, just smoke it off and push. But they're deciding against that. Instead, rallying towards the A site. And from here, they've got a 5 versus 4, but remember, with Lays on 8 HP, he can be easily spammed down through the smoke. A nade landing, which they still have in play, can shut him down almost immediately. They have dragged a rotate as Moop comes towards middle, and he's going for an 18-second flank play?
Oh boy. He's going to hope to be effective in the post plan, I dare say, but now Noobster finds that opening onto Mizzy. That's at least got him into the bomb site. The bomb's still got to go down though, so Maker's just hoping that his teammate can put that down. Burn provides some decent cover at least, and they do manage to get away with that. That is some maximization of round timer for sure.
Jim, what the hell's happening, man? Moop went for an 18-second flank, then realized that they were going to push A, so he had to rotate back. They got to the site. One player's pushing out in the open to try and shut down the bomb plant. The other 2 are still towards CT. Then it looked like Moop just decided to also try and shut down the bomb plant, just ran at them screaming. It was like a war cry, while his teammate wasn't pushing. Like, it seemed there like every player had their own game plan, their own timing, that they weren't communicating. Or if they were communicating, nobody was listening to it because they had their idea on what was going down. That was very sloppy. I mean, I wouldn't even call that a retake. That was just suicide.
I mean, this is why I'm wearing the shirt. Welcome to the jungle. We've got fun and games, that's for sure, but Maker, let's take down 2D in that instance. Savage tries to get the work done with the MP9, actually couldn't convert that in the end, and they're just going to ball up here, Ground Zero. Mizzy, what can he find for himself? Nothing, that's the answer. And they've done a good job of keeping their numbers quite high, given the fact that Noobster and both Maker barely hanging on, so Moop might be able to catch something out. And he does actually now have that M4 in his hand, so it doesn't matter. Lays is very alert to the fact that he could be lurking in that position. So Moop goes down. It's back to 5 apiece here, Mitch. This is, as I said, this is what we're expecting. Some closely contested matches. it's going to be a brawl between these two teams until they find their legs.
Oh man, so typically this map plays out as T-sided. It's like 52%, so very, very tight, but just ever so slightly in favor of the terrorist side the majority of the time. And when I look at how Ground Zero are playing, they are massively ahead. I know it is 5-5, but the mistakes being made by Downfall, the fact that obviously Downfall got off to this great start, punished the rush by Ground Zero, but it's all about repeatable rounds. It's all about things that... I guess in a way you can look at it as sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you just happen to make the right play, and sometimes you're putting yourself in those better positions. And for Ground Zero, it seems to me that their strategies or their round wins have been based on the back of something that is more consistent. And it's shutting down USPs in this round, so there's no big deal. And obviously having not the best of buys in the previous either, I don't think this is where I would realistically expect a tactical pause in one sense, because they've had the opportunity to discuss everything over these past 2 rounds. But at the same time, I feel like certainly along the way, probably immediately after that 2 rounds ago, when they just jumped headfirst into a meat grinder, I probably would have called that pause just to level it out and make sure that there's communication going down, because something needs to be adjusted here. That's for damn certain.
It's probably one of the things that defines this region a little bit more, is the fact that some teams don't actually take the opportunity for that tactical pause when most other teams in similar situations would. I think, you know, OCE doesn't have a whole host of coaches that are willing to, you know, dedicate their time to it. It is often the most thankless task in any team. You're there first for prac, you're there last, you're reviewing demos, you're not even getting the reward of playing, and that's, you know, led to a lot of teams not actually having a coach in these sort of situations. Someone to tap that captain on the shoulder and say, guys, I think it's time we actually take a tactical timeout and see what's happening. It's not quite there. Now Burn, they're alert to the fact that he is once again the bandit on that scaffolding, but Lays is showing some decent support, takes 2 for his trouble. And this is going to be Ground Zero now, upping the ante towards this A bomb site. They're just going to wait to group up first, though. At least get some smoke cover. Savage, the youngster, what can he do?
Oh man,
Let's just see.
he's just being wrecked.
Who needs to see your opposition?
He was spraying through the smoke, in fairness, so they just looked at the tracers and tapped a little head off him. Look at the HP, though. Lays and Lamas are both very, very low. This is definitely winnable if you're Downfall, and it's a round that they desperately need. They lost the start of this round with a double opening going to Ground Zero, but hold on, sneaky play still on the site. As he ran away, he was caught, but Lays able to trade it out. 35 HP between the two of them. It's so close, but Savage doesn't have any damage dealing utility. He can't lock them out. He can't smoke them off this bomb. He has to hope they peek him one at a time, and it's just not going to happen. Well, even then, they could have just delayed the time off that, right? He wouldn't have had time to defuse. And that's 7-5. Ground Zero just steamrolling Downfall. And it's that early fight on ramp. The 2 players that swing, but not, look at this. There's one, then the second guy comes out. One at a time. And that's so easy for Lays. Even after a bit of team damage, the sprays through the smoke, the push by Leaky left uncontested for a second. They got so many opportunities on that one. But the round had started so poorly that they needed a whole lot more.
I'm actually really impressed from what I'm seeing out of Lays as well. He's only a young new addition to this team, and for some of their first matches, he was playing from a different location. For the first MDL matches, for example, with this roster, he was actually playing from the owner of Ground Zero's house. He wasn't playing from his own setup. Oh. And his internet was, I believe, unreliable at that point in time. So not too sure where he's playing from today, but whatever it is, they fed him well. Now Moop does level the ledger somewhat, taking down his opposite number in Burner UK and make it. He's got the information there, and at least has Lays in tow as well. So Licky getting a bit tricky with his angles, and he's going to try and find a second here as Llama with the calmer approach towards this B-bomb. So they will at least get the bomb down, so that is good news for Ground Zero, but it's still a 3 versus 3.
Oh, he's going for the weapon. They're ready for this. Like, he's just going to get shot in the back now. Oh, maybe I was thinking maybe Lays would like sneak up and get himself a little spray down, but oh my god, they don't even know. They don't know what's going on. Lays just shift walked up and they thought he'd still be back towards middle. And he gets another one, of course. All three players, nobody was ready for him in that round. He could have just been screaming, shooting in the air the whole time, and they'd be like, I don't think he's coming. It's all right. Don't worry about it. That is one hell of a way for this one to start. And I mean, realistically, when you're at this spot, ground zero, but it was the first 5 rounds where they lost 4, right? 3, yeah. So they lost 4 out of the first 5 rounds, and now they're up on a 7-5 scoreline, like, or 8-5, excuse me. Obviously, with that round under their belt, that's pretty huge. Like, they're definitely winning this game significantly.
And the thing is, too, now you can see they've got confidence. That utility that they're pushing in with is getting them the kills, and Lays is just laying the red carpet for his team towards this A bomb site right now. And in that last round, all he needed to do was lay low. And it's just left 2D and Licky in a uncomfortable position here. That boost is not going to yield them any results for the moment. It is going to give 2D some time to find a pick, but again, there's no openings for him on this A bomb site whatsoever. And it's actually the combination of Moop and Licky to get the damage done. It's the rifle that's opening things up now in the retake. This is certainly very doable now for Downfall, but Lays is still up.
Teammate with him as well. The spray, it's easy as can be. Licky has to hunt him down. They're just running away. They're biding their time, and saving the op is the only way they get out of this with a smile on their face. Jeez, this is really heartbreaking for Downfall, because that was a real opportunity. Ground Zero overextended in that fight. They got way too confident, but even still, it's not enough. And oh, look at that. Savage had him, but not able to finish him off, and look what happens because of it. Another 2 kills follow up.
You can't leave him alive to do damage. He's very confident in this match. It's safe to say that. Look at that. He's just absolutely starting to run away with it. It's the 2 youngsters, funnily enough. Licky only having just been removed, I dare say, from the Ground Zero roster. No longer playing with him. He was a former member. Funnily enough, that's the player that he was replaced with. He plays. A former player, Void, went on to play Valorant there, and we do see another fast opening. Burn, are you okay? I think they've got your number there, Burn. You've been caught at scaffolding a few times now. So going down early on in the piece in the first 20 seconds of the round is never a good sign, but at least we'll be able to direct traffic now as Licky. A little bit more forward in his positioning, gets some early info, and just keeps that pendulum swinging in the direction of Downfall for now. Some rounds they certainly do need right now. He does take some damage, but more importantly stays alive. And okay, did have to rotate, but does go down for his trouble. So this is again just Ground Zero taking their time. They've got the picks. They're just going to try and work things now. And Lays does have a lot of well, doesn't have a lot of HP to deal with. He actually goes down through the smoke. So, yeah, Ground Zero are going to have to hit this B bomb site and try and frag their way through this as Llamas. Let's find another. But they're right here on this doorstep, Downfall. They're ready for this retake.
And the issue for Downfall so far has just been that time to kill. They're losing so many fights where they get the first 3 or 4 bullets off and somehow are being returned on. That smoke didn't quite land in time. It's down to a 1v3 and it just can't work out. Even with Noob finding 1, that's all he's going to get. A smoke thrown to the wind, but it's the final round, so it doesn't matter. And with that, yeah, 6 rounds for Downfall. It's, I guess in some scenarios it's not bad, but it's all about context. If they lose the pistol and go down 3-0 after a second round force buy, it would be fine. So I'd be happy with 6 if anything. But the fact that they won the pistol, beat down a force buy flawlessly, remember, they didn't lose any weapons on round 2. Then they went through to round 3. They win that again quite cleanly. And then they just get shut down. Immediately, Ground Zero start fighting. They win the 4th round. They trade it back and forth. And then they get a streak of T-side rounds. That is not what you want as Downfall. Because in recent memory, in buy rounds, you've got nothing done. And even the rounds where they have gotten success, it's been off the back of these gimmicky angles that Ground Zero weren't expecting. They get it once, or Burn just rushing up to the A side through Scaffold. That's been 2 of their opening duels, 2 of very few. And look at how many times they just lost those fights on ramp after they got the opening. Like, they get the first couple bullets off and nothing went their way. Now as they come to the T side, this has to be a very different performance, because in those early rounds, oh my god, what? Did he see him? Am I missing something there? That was beautiful.
Barely. Oh my goodness, this round was looking good for Downfall, but it's now a brawl.
Oh.
It started off with Maker getting a pedicure on the A ramp, but now they're going to get this bomb down in the B bomb site. Move with that P250, trying to do some damage here, and he's trying to catch them off guard. Can't get away. He does escape with his life, at least maintain a number advantage here. Ground Zero going for that double peak on Moot, but they can't quite find him, so he's just staying alive. Brings it back to 2 apiece. Maker with the plays, and in a blaze of glory, Burn, are you okay? Seals the deal for Ground Zero, so the task just gets harder for Downfall, but positive is they have that plant, so their economy at least is going to feel the benefits rolling into the next round.
Yeah, like if they want, they can get a force buy up. But this was okay, so technically it wasn't classed as a smoke kill, but it definitely was. He saw his ankle and shot him in the head. Great stuff by Noob, really pulling them back into that round, dropping the bomb out in the open as well, delayed Downfall and allowed them to catch them scrambling on the side as they ran back through. It's obviously because they took a little bit longer with the bomb plant. There was no post plants in position already. For Downfall, they have gone through on the force buy, and look, it's a risk. They've got very limited utility. They've got, what, 1 AK alongside Galil's. This round has to go their way. And oh, it just might. Look at Lays. He's gone aggressive down the ramp with an MP9. He's trying to get that close fight. He's trying to force it out. But now he's just tucked in the corner and waiting for an opportunity.
Don't know if it's going to come his way, too. Ground Zero. Now have to fall back because that utility starts to deplete somewhat. Lays needs to be careful. Doesn't want to give away that weaponry. And we saw Ground Zero do this on their first round after the pistol, just force into it. So these two teams are just trying to up the ante somewhat. I do rate the Galil. I'll be entirely honest in that one. But against the weaponry that Ground Zero have, the Galil is going to be difficult to deal with at range here, as Lamas is just going for that shoulder peek. Does see the utility come in, drops the Molotov almost immediately, tries to buy some time for his team, but just that awareness around the hole. He is dancing for his life at the moment. Maker,
oh my god,
great protector, but he's gone down, and this is not going the way that the Downfall would have liked.
That's ridiculous.
For sure. And somehow the SMGs deny entry to the B bomb site.
That's genuinely just ridiculous. I don't know how he stayed alive there. Literally just dancing left and right. First kill from afar by Maker. The nades are coming over. Look at that. The flash by Noob caught 2 of those players. If it doesn't, those guys die on the site because you're facing a Galil on range. You're not winning that duel. But how Lamas, like, he was literally spotted by 3 different players who had Galils who all tried to shoot him and no one killed him. It was like he was in the Matrix but firing back at the same time. It was just stupidly good from him. And you see the time to kill on that as well. As soon as he starts shooting, they're dead. Like, within 5 or 6 bullets, they're gone. And for Downfall, the problem was, on their CT side, they were in positions where they could catch players off guard. They didn't have the supportive utility like that to flash their opponents and give them that little bit more of an advantage. But even when they got those shots off, think about Savage over towards Scaffolds when he swung and missed Lays. Like, he barely tickled him, and then Lays was able to turn, kill him and 2 of his teammates. It's those small things. If you're whiffing those opening shots, you're going to lose a lot more rounds because opening duels are very important.
Meaty grenade coming out too from Ground Zero just to soften up Downfall somewhat. Pistols coming into this though. Tech 9, they've backed it in enough to buy it twice. So yeah, you're right. They couldn't deal with the opportunities that they were given. They were handed some opportunities there to convert frags under Ground Zero. And I mean, you know, if Lamas was any more spotted, he'd be a leopard on that B bomb site, that's for sure. Oh, Cloudmaker. He finds a second somehow. And now Llama's full of confidence. And finding that third. We'll keep things rolling for ground zero. Important 12th round, but we see the buy coming out now from Downfall. What have they got up their sleeve? They need to convert these chances, make it. I dare say, wouldn't have even spotted that second player.
So the current position, right? It's 12-6 up on the board. When I see a situation like that, I gotta always swing through and consult the, I don't know if you know the stats page on HLTV. It's always interesting to me.
I'm familiar with it.
Over on Vertigo, like the overall Vertigo stats for every single game. If you look at the matrix of the win probability, whenever the T side has got 6 rounds and their opponents have got 12, it's a 3% win rate coming through to this round for the T side. Then a 0% if it goes 13-6, and a 1% if it's 14-6. That's pretty interesting. It really speaks to how, like, rough and tumble this game can be. If you're not getting it, like, you can snowball like crazy, but I'd say even more so with the context of how this half has gone, or how this game has gone. Like, the successful rounds, this could very easily be like something like 12-2 we're looking at realistically. In terms of rounds that I care about, I think probably 2 of them on Downfalls I would like mark as legit. If you look at the and in terms of buy rounds anyways, whereas ground zero have just been non-stop. Every round they've got has either been they've been at a disadvantage, or they've had such a good approach to it, and they've had them like the ability to trade on every kill. They have the supportive utility coming through as well. They're hitting their shots, which is obviously one of the most important things. And this opening, though, and this time it goes to move. They're really forcing these fights. Every single one going their way. And giving ground zero a taste of their own medicine. Just straight rushing up the ramp. And it works out.
The strange thing for me was that ground zero were not prepared for that at all. Like, Noobs threw a flash that he ended up blinding himself with. And that's how quickly Downfall were able to get up. I mean, look at the difference between the two teams, chalk and cheese. Now, I was going to say that stats on HLTV are fantastic tools to assist anyone commentating, but I think there needs to be a special column for this region, because those stats, those global stats, don't always apply. Don't always apply here, and I'm sure Blair can attest to the same in Asia. You can just throw that book out. But it looks like maybe that 3% chance is growing here for Downfall as they do narrow that gap somewhat. But yeah, ground zero just very flustered once Downfall got up on that ramp. They were not prepared for that at all. They were not even in positions to actually support one another. So I don't think ground zero had their ducks in a row on that A bomb site, and that's hurt them now because it's drained the bank somewhat. And Downfall go on to win this next round. Things are starting to crumble for ground zero a little bit. The economy becomes difficult to manage in some of these later rounds.
You'll have to actually forgive me on the stats. I had it backwards. It's actually a 12.4% chance of that round going their way, just based on 97 overall maps. Look at this though. This is what I'm talking about when I say I like ground zero is a much better team. You see that, okay, they lose ramp. So what do they do this round? Proactive ramp control. They go down there. They just start forcing the fights. Matter of fact, they take it a bit too far for my liking. Burns still pushing, and he gets shut down for it. Don't know what that's about, but let's pretend that part didn't happen. It was a great start of the round because they peek around that corner. They've got their flashes in play. They're taking the duels. Now Lamas is stuck on the side by himself, but he gets one still even after his teammate falls. Connects a headshot to Mizzy and puts this 2v2 well and truly in their favor. Mizzy goes down with a little tickle and a 1v2 for Savage. Really hasn't had the best of games so far. This would be one hell of a way to buy back into it, but he has no idea. Laze is so quickly coming behind him. That's a shutdown by ground zero.
Yeah, Laze had to be careful there too, that he didn't give away his position too early on in the piece. Because with that kind of positioning, that's where it gets dangerous. That's where you can create 2 1 versus 1s for the T. So it was played to perfection in the end. He just shift walked his way entirely around, and Savage had no idea that he was laying in wait. But yeah, this is proactive ramp control coming out, and of course the two sharpshooters on the team, Bernie UK and Lay's, just making things very difficult for Downfall now. And still need to be careful though, Ground Zero. They took some heavy losses in that round, so 3 going down, it doesn't mean the city economy is out of jail just yet. So very important round still for Ground Zero to be played. And Lazy just opens things up again. And why not? This is the sort of confidence we saw from Chiefs yesterday on Vertigo, just picking down that A ramp, making life very difficult for Downfall. And I mean, statistically, it gets very easy to determine which site they're going to if you have control of that A ramp.
That's something we didn't see from Downfall, right? The ability to just shift up positions. What, they lost A ramp 3 rounds in a row to just straight rushes. That's not something that it wasn't even necessarily straight rushes either. It was them peaking it and giving those advantages away consistently. It was just map control that Ground Zero had been after. Like, you Lays pushed up to sandbags kind of thing. Like, he wasn't swinging up wide. And with that, you know, with the fact that Ground Zero obviously shown that they're quicker on their feet, they're winning a lot more aim duels. They're just cleaner in every way. I find it hard to sit comfortably in any way in Downfall's favor. Maker just shuts down this opening as well with Mizzy falling. That's a 5 versus 3. Downfall struggling to get any control. They're looking at the B side instead, but they haven't spotted right up the back. Lamas was left unchecked, and he's able to just tear them apart. Great work by Lamas. A 14th for Ground Zero. And yes, Downfall have got the money to invest, but at a certain point, Jim, I feel like that just doesn't even matter to give these guys 5 ops if they want.
Lamas is a real linchpin player for me in Ground Zero's makeup. The reason is he has had the potential to be a great player. He's shown promise in a lot of games. He just hasn't delivered in some of the bigger matches, but I think that's just due to experience and perhaps nerves in some instances. And it was always a question for me, which version of Llamas we were going to get today? Was it the Karma Llamas or the Drama Llamas? I think today we've got the Karma Llamas here, as we do see a change in pace coming out. Levels Noobster onto this A-bomb side, and I think they've found their opening here. However, Lays is still awake. They haven't quite upped the ante somewhat. I think that sound tick has alerted Licky to his positioning somewhat. But no fast commitment coming out from Downfall.
Licky's having one hell of a game. Considering the scoreline as well, that is unreal that he's doing so well. But
he's a man on a mission. He's a man on a mission. This is his former roster. So he's not going to be too happy about the fact that he's no longer on their side, but he's got to make a statement somehow, and he's making it right now. That being said, though, his direct replacement in Lays certainly attesting for himself. As they do get eventually onto this A-bomb site, the smokes come through, and the bomb will go down. So this is tough for Ground Zero. They don't have the numbers in their favor right now, but one pick could change it all.
Time's going to tick away. They need to get into this one quickly. Lays has caught one off. He's going to swing through looking for a little bit more, but surely you don't expect a second player to be up behind a pillar on the left-hand side. This should be... Oh, well, look. They've just won the aim duels anyway, so... What? They've spotted him now, but it's too late. Burn misses the shot, gets shut down by a wall bang, and that's going to be Ground Zero on 14-8. 6 rounds ahead. But they are still... Yeah, they lost that round. Maybe Downfall can build a little bit of momentum off the back of it. Well, definitely really much better.
Definitely much better. I actually wasn't too sure what Downfall had in mind once they slowed things up. They took control of the territory, but we're just waiting to see if Ground Zero would overextend themselves, maybe try and get that information. And they got themselves onto this bomb site. A few good aim duels going the way of Downfall, but this has hurt the money of Ground Zero. So smartly, they don't force into this. They've got rounds to play with, so no need to put themselves in an even worse position by trying to force the issue. And they are just going to play this fairly standard. They're not going to do anything particularly special. They're not even going to play in any advanced positions. They're just going to try and play off one another, play those tricky angles. They've made it work before on this B-bomb site, and dance around those poles they have. It's been effective for them, but with different weaponry this time. They're going to stack some more numbers over towards B here. This will be interesting.
they'll leave Burn unchecked, it could be dangerous, and they do. He's able to get one. The Lamas, at least, is there finding it. And they know where he is. He's only got a USP. How is he alive? How is he alive? How is he alive? What is that? He's just stood in the open with a USP. Tapping from behind. Lays really using the silencer. It took them a while to figure out where he was. Jeez, like, that's ridiculous. There were 3 people peeking him with AKs, and he just stands there. This is what I'm talking about. Like, how does something like that happen for a player? Imagine that was an M4, Jim. He would have just wrecked them.
Oh, it would have been a completely different scenario had that been an M4. That is some scary prospects there. But, I mean, look at the stats. They're starting to even out a little bit, at least amongst the top performers from both these 2 teams. So, yeah, you're right. Licky is certainly on a tear, and he's on a mission. So they're going to be looking to him to try and lead things back in. They're going for that double eco. So, Lays, no support. Not much he could do in that position as Moot just, again, he's the point man for them into this A-bomb site. Bernie, okay, on skates with that Desert Eagle. And Savage needs to be careful here. He's lost his right-hand man, but Licky has opened up this B-bomb site, and that's exactly where they will go. They will pick up some weaponry, though. So, round 0, have at least 2 AKs for this retake, and it's back to a 3 versus 2. So, this is danger. Even more so now that Licky's missed that shot. Maker is going to collapse onto this B-bomb site. Now it's a 3 versus 1, 2D. As I said, he's a danger player, one to watch out for, but he's got a lot of work to do here now. It's actually the TK that goes his way, but he is eventually taken down by Burn. That is some heart-in-your-mouth moment from ground 0, but they will bring up match point. Downfall. We just picked apart in the end there. I thought they were doing everything right. They were just caught seemingly by surprise. They were not grouped up too well in the end.
You could say that was their mistake.
The question is, will there be an uprising
after the downfall? The issue, well, that was wild. The issue there for me is that, like, you can't throw those duels away. It's just been so consistent. So many times I've seen it now from Downfall where they come through, they get a shot on a player, and it's just completely whiffed. And then that player comes through to just completely wreck them as well. For Burn, he had a great round on the Deagle. They nade stacked early outside B as well and caught a kill. That was Mizzy that fell at the very start of the round. And from there, it's just spiraled for Downfall. I mean, hell, if you're able to trade in a round where you've only got those pistols, you're going to be pretty damn happy. 15-9. Ground 0 in a spot where it's very difficult to imagine them losing this game. They've just been so clean. They've definitely looked like the better side. And the problem is this was Downfall's opportunity to come through with a map pick that maybe caught Ground 0 off guard or out of their comfort zone. And if this one doesn't work out, how's the next going to go? That Molly slows them completely. The duels, look, Lays just goes out for more. Look how confident they are at the moment, able to take every single fight and win them.
He's clinical from Ground 0, but still sense a little bit of unsureness on that map, despite the fact, obviously, they took it 16-9. There were still a few instances there where they were darting around and trying to